Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to another chapter. Not working on these guys, we're working on this guy here. That's our GMC Syclone by Revell, 1/25th scale. Don't worry about these, it's a totally different project I'm working on. We're going to run that intro, we'll get started, okay? Okay guys, we're back. So what are we doing? You know, we've got this truck almost ready to paint. I say almost. Looking at this thing, so last time, I'll change the camera so you can see a little better here. So last time we were working on trying to figure out how to get the front end on and get the front end on here so that I can paint this as one unit, right? And so I got this glued in. I had to, you guys saw, I actually had to file the front of this flat so that this would fit fairly flush. So I got this lined up and glued on, so that's pretty good. I do have a gap at the top of the corner marker there, the light, but I think there's a filler piece that's going to go in there. Looking at the instructions, there is a piece that goes over across the top here that might come in and fill that. If it doesn't, then I'll have to put some styrene or something in there and fill up that little gap because it looks really weird. Anyway, I did manage to get my bumpers lined up. Yes, there is a line there, but that's the way the truck is in real life. There's a real line there, so we don't have to worry about that. And that's that. So off camera, I started putting on our rear panels, and they are really not lining up. So I have just this front section glued here and taped on to hold it in place while the glue dries, and doing the same on this side, trying to get it so that they line up at the bottom here and they line up across here, so it's not some weird, you know, just alignment thing going on that doesn't look right. So just trying to get this all lined up, and I'm going to have to do the back section later on, which is why we're not going to focus on this today. Okay, we're not focusing on the body today because I'm letting this part dry before I try and glue the back part of these flares on. So this is just going to be set aside. So what are we going to do then? If I'm not doing this, what am I doing? Because there's really not much left to install on this thing before painting. I'm not going to get a chance to paint today. So what am I doing? Well, we're going to do some customizing. What kind of customizing? You might have guessed if you noticed my wire sitting here. This is just some very light, very cheap 18 gauge wire. You could say it's automotive wire, but usually automotive wire is copper, and this stuff is not. This is I don't even know what this is made out of, but it's not copper, definitely not copper, it's silver. Looking at some photos online, when you pop the hood on this truck, there's a heck of a lot going on underneath the hood. Even though it's all nice and tight, and you don't see like distributor wires, you don't see ignition wires, but you do see a lot of cables and piping and stuff like that going on under the hood of these things. With that in mind, especially along the firewall, the top of the firewall, there's literally no detail along the top of the firewall. Yeah, we have our ambulance going by, but we also have, you know, the brake booster, and we have our looks like our window wiper motor here, and some kind of a little relay box or something. We've got the great big thing for air conditioning / heater. I believe this truck does have air conditioning, and we actually got the condenser and stuff, I think, for it to put on there. But that's it. There's no wiring detail on here, and that's where this stuff comes in. I want to add some wiring. I'm going to see if I can get a picture to show you guys just exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Of course, you guys can always Google the underhood of a GMC Syclone, but let's see. I did save some pictures. Here's a good one. Let's see if I can bring this up here. if I just bear with me a moment here, guys. I'll try and get this on here. Let's see. I got this one I can show. This is going to be an old. Don't pay no never mind to this. Okay. That's not what we're working on. So just bear with me a moment here. We're going to get you this picture here. Okay. And you can see there's quite a bit going on under the hood there, right? These things are pretty busy. I do want to try and replicate the piping here. I'm guessing this is for the ABS and all the brakes and everything. I really don't know what all this piping is for, but it's possible. This looks like the engine control module, possibly. I really don't know, but I'm just guessing. But as you can see, there's quite a lot of wires going in up in here along the firewall. I just want to add a few. I don't really want a lot. I just want to do, like, a wire coming out of the back of the windshield wiper motor here. Wire maybe coming out of there. There's some wires coming out of the little relay box that's right there. Just that little bit of detail, right? And of course, they're not just black. We've got red wires coming out of there. I just want to add a little something. It looks like there's a huge harness right here too. That's kind of coming from down in the back and coming up over. Let's see if we can get a different view here, maybe. Let's try this one here. Yeah, you can see there's a bunch of wires coming up and over there and coming back down. They just kind of disappeared, so I'm not really sure. I'll try and see if I can find a picture that's a little closer up and get those on there. So we're going to add those, all right? So, yeah. So what are we going to do? So I'll show you guys just exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so change the picture, or change the camera. Here we go. So we're basically, the longest wire I'm really going to need is basically from here to here, as this goes over top like that. But that's it. So we really only need a length maybe about, what's that, 1.5 inches maybe? So we'll just trim this off. Put this away. We really don't need a lot here. So what I'm going to do is put a slice here, slice open this, like that, and that's going to allow us to pull a bunch of wires out of this. I want to take out, 3, 4, 6, something like that, and get a little bit of a group going here. Okay, let's pull these out. I didn't cut this long enough. So there we go. Let's pull some of these out. There we go. These are nice and fine little wires. They're very to scale. This would be very accurate to scale. That's how fine these are. And this is why I chose this gauge. Thicker gauge wire is not going to be very accurate as far as scale. So I want to duplicate some of these wires that come over here. So I'm just going to kind of do this. And what you can do is put those down for now. We're going to use CA glue to fix all our wires in. Okay. So I've got my CA glue here. Make sure that this has not closed up on me, because that tends to do that. Get myself some CA glue in my patented CA glue container. Patented, copyright. Yeah. my little CA glue applicator. So sometimes it's hard to pick up all of these with your fingers. What I want to do, I want to actually just tuck them down on the back here like this, so that it's like they just go back here and they disappear, and that's where they belong. So you're not going to see where they go. It's just one of those things. So we're going to get some glue here, and we're just going to put a little dab of glue down here. So this is where they're going, and we're going to bend them a little bit, and then just kind of let them sit there. Just like that. I'm going to add a little more CA just to make sure they all have some CA glue. If you don't quite get all of them, that's okay. This guy, he doesn't want to stay with his friends. He wants to be a loner. But we can convince him, maybe. I dropped him and I don't know where he went. So that's okay. So there we go. So we've got it glued in spot. If you're worried about it coming loose, you can always use a little bit of accelerator, which is what I'm going to do, just to make sure that they all stay when I start working this around in the orientation that I want them. So there we go. Wires are glued down, and so we're going to start bending these and working these into the realistic form that they would be, or that they show on the actual truck. I show them going over the thing like that and tucking down in here like this. Okay. Now you can glue them on here too if you want, but you don't have to. And now I'm just going to tuck them underneath here like this. And now we've got our wires. Now those are going to be painted, but you can see that's going to add a little bit of detail to show that there's some wires. Don't know where they go, don't know what they're for exactly, but they're on there. So we're just going to glue them to the back of the firewall here now. So we'll put some CA glue on here. And now, this is risky because I'm going to put my fingers on it. Got a few of them glued down, but not all of them. So we need to convince the other guys to fall in line, stay with their friends. And there we go. And that's that. I'm going to just use the end of this to kind of press them down in there for a second. There we go. There we go. All right. So there we go. So they're nice and separate, and you get the idea, right? So the other thing we wanted to do was maybe a couple of wires coming out of this little relay box. So we're going to grab 2 wires. If we can get just 2. We'll try and get just 2. It doesn't really matter if you get more than 2. Because of the length, I could even double it up. It doesn't really matter. So we're going to take this one wire, fold it over, and we're going to twist it. Okay. So we got this guy twisted together. but it's only one wire. We want two, right? So let's just put him down. We'll grab another one. Pull this guy out. Pull them over and twist. Sometimes, like for some reason right now, this doesn't really want to twist. It's just kind of slipping in my fingers. So I'm going to hold it with this end. Yeah, it doesn't want to work. I have to use other tweezers. Because I've got so much shit on my desk. Let's try this. These tweezers really don't hold. Those tweezers are garbage, so let's grab another pair of tweezers. I do have a good pair over here. These tweezers hold. Alright. But you gotta hold both wires. There we go. Now we're twisting. That's better. Now we've got our wire twisted together. Even though you might not have been able to really see on the camera, you just see, yeah, I'm putting my fingers together. You can't even see what I'm doing. But there we go. We've got two wires. They're very fine, but that's okay. They're fine wires. There's one. This is the one I dropped earlier and lost. I'm going to put him over here. So we've got this one here, and we've got this one here. I'm going to put them kind of together. Like this. Okay? These guys are friends, but they don't get really twisted together. They're just friends. They're supposed to stay together. They stay together, but they're not twisted. So I'm just going to dip them in the CA. So we've got CA on them now. And then try and get this on here before it dries. Well, they're now together because of the CA glue. So because of that, just going to hold on to them here. And I gotta put CA glue on here for them to stay on. I'll just hold them there for a second. Before I really try and do anything with them, make sure this glue is dry. I might even have to put a little bit more CA on there. Soak up a little bit of this stuff with a Q-tip. Help it dry. And I'll put a little more, another little dab of CA on there. There we go. So, you can see now where I've added it to that little relay box right there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to run those wires down here, and we'll follow this little pattern. We'll run them down under here, and then we'll just follow this little whatever this is, some kind of a hose maybe or something, a pipe. We're going to follow that down under there. Okay. Now, if I've done my job right, I should be able to just move these and not have it break free. That's if I've done my job right. We're going to find out here. There we go. I'm going to kind of hold it here, put it down, and then with the tweezers bend these down just like that. Tuck them under. And tuck them under. There you go. And with that, one of these wires kind of came loose, but that's okay. It came loose in a little weird spot. Don't do this. See, the glue dried on my thing. And then the wire decided it wanted to stay with my thing. And separated itself from its buddy. So that's okay. We're going to let that dry for a second. You guys know this is probably the first time I've shown this kind of stuff on my channel. And it's because this stuff is a tedious process that normally people don't really want to watch. Yeah, they watch, but maybe just out of curiosity. But it's usually on a channel that cuts down all the boring stuff. But I don't. I show everything, right? You guys know that. I don't just show all the successful stuff. I show my mistakes. Just to show you guys. Nope, I'm not perfect. I'm just a regular guy like you guys. Okay, so we got that glued in now. And I'm going to just do a little bit of glue on the back of the firewall just to ensure these all stay in place and don't go anywhere in the future. And so there we go. We've got our wiring for our little relay. Just like that. So finally we have our little wire that's supposed to come out of the windshield wiper box right here. So I'm going to take a couple of wires and we'll do the same thing. Here's that wire that I had before. I think I could just use this one. We'll just grab it roughly in the middle here. I think that's the middle. Is that the middle? Let's do this. Yeah, I think so. Pretty close. Okay, let's grab it here and start twist. Okay, once again, put a little dab of CA right there where we're going to connect it. And we're also going to dip. And then place. Dip. It's probably dried by now. Okay, it's kind of holding. Also kind of dropping my tweezers. I'm not really happy with where I placed it, so I'm going to move it. That's better. Now, a little more CA. Sorry guys, I just realized you're staring at the top of my head the whole time. I need more CA to glue this in here. Okay, so these are going to go down in the same direction. Just like that. I want to have them stick to the firewall here. Don't do this again. Damn it. See, they stuck to my wire. Oh, they really stuck. So this is garbage. And I've now got a glob of CA on the tip of this. So we're going back. We're going to have to start this one again. You guys see what I mean? I show all my crap. I don't hide this stuff. I make mistakes. Stuff happens. Okay. So let's grab another wire. Doesn't matter, grab one, grab two and fold them. Grab one and then fold it, or grab two and just twist them together. It doesn't matter. I got two wires here, so let's just give them a twist. Alright, I'm going to try this again. Lay this down right there. CA glue on the spot. Okay, not over on the booster, come on. CA glue on the spot where I want it. Now, tweezers. Really? Dip. Touch. Okay, we're going to do a different approach to this because these guys are really starting to piss me off. So we're gonna drill a hole. I'm gonna drill a friggin' hole into this thing, and then I'm gonna shove the wires through. And that's the way we're gonna friggin' do it, because our stupid friggin' wires don't wanna friggin'. Let's pick a drill bit that's not too big, but yet big enough that those wires go through. We're gonna try this one. I'm gonna drill a hole into the side of this thing right here. Okay. Okay, so I got a pilot hole started right there. Okay. And you can keep doing this by hand if you want. I prefer more power tool type stuff and get this done faster, but just do this back and forth, back and forth. Alright, I'm through. Okay, let's keep drilling. There we go. So we got a hole going all the way through. Now let's run these wires. Where the hell did they go? Where did my stupid wires go? That ain't it. Maybe that's one of them. Let's grab two more. Glasses. Here we go. Two more. I'm going to run them through from the back. Try and get them together. Of course, they're so fragile. There we go. Pull them through. Hold on to them. That's more than enough length right there. So hold it down. Get some CA. I'll just put it right there over the hole. I said get some CA. Glue those wires in place. There we go. Now we finally got it. All that trouble for that. So now we can run these down where I originally wanted. I wanted to lay them down. I wanted to glue them down there. So right there. There we go. now finally our little bend around the bottom here. Touch down there. Wrap them around. And just give it a little touch here. There we go. Dip them in that glue. And there we go. We've got our wires done. I'm happy with that. We had a little bit of challenge. I got a little schmutz on my brake booster from where I touched it with the CA glue. But just kind of clean that up a little bit. There we go. There we go. So now we've got wiring on there. That's our finished product. Okay. All that just to add some wires. So there we go. We've got our wires added on there. Just a little something. Yes, it's going to be tucked in behind the engine. You're not going to see very much. When you think about it, where this is going to be placed, somewhere along like this, you're not going to see a whole lot, but you're going to see something. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to sit there, but it's going to be close back here, like that, right? So yeah, I wanted to show you guys that process, as a little bit painful as it was, but it wasn't too bad. Just our windshield wiper wires being really stubborn for some reason. So there's that. So now we can paint them up. I'm going to paint them flat black. Actually, I'm going to do the red on one of them first. Do my red wires first. So I've got my XF7, little tiny bottle, much smaller than I normally use, but that's alright. Let's put some things aside here. Then I'm going to grab my smaller brush. Okay. And for the most part, these wires are going to be black. Not all of them, of course, but most of them. So we want to do one here. Even if the only wire you can really see is the red one, that's okay. This makes it a lot easier. If I had done this before I had painted the firewall, it would be really hard to point out the one red wire, right? The fact that they're actually separate from the firewall makes it a lot more real looking, and it actually looks like a separate piece. You can see I get down to here and I just kind of brushed all of them with it, but that's okay, because it's really only up here that you're going to see the one red wire. And of course it's separated out from the rest of them, so that's good. It really kind of pulls itself out from the rest. When I do the black ones, yeah, it might disappear in amongst the crowd, but that's okay. I don't even know which one's red under the back. I'm down there. It's alright. Okay, there we go. So the other wires are all black. So we're going to grab our flat black. after we clean up our brush, of course. Get that red paint off of there. We grab our XF1 flat black. And we give it the same treatment. This one here with the windshield wiper motor, can't really see it, so I'm just going to do this one. Like that. These ones up here are going to be the little bit of a challenge. So we don't want them all black. These ones actually have, looking at the photo, it looked like some wires were black, some were colored. The flat black, to me, is flat black. I don't know why. It kind of doesn't like to flow. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. It likes to pull itself off. And I don't know why. If you don't put it on thick, it disappears on you. I think I'm going to leave this like that. It's multicolored and just kind of going through like that. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'll show you guys in a sec. Clean up my brush first here. So there we have it. Our wires are done, they're painted now. Just like that. Now you can see the red wire going down on each one of them, and that's fine. And the rest of them are black, but you can see there's maybe you can see there's a little bit different colors, but the silver coming through, showing in a little bit of them, but that's it. Okay, that's it. So that is doing some custom wires. So we're going to switch gears here before I go and show you guys what I need to do here. This has now been sitting long enough that this glue is cured, but as you can see here, we really do not have any alignment at all. So I need to bring this up in here and tuck that in and hold that there. I'm going to see if my clips will hold that, and see if we can actually do this and glue that side, that piece on. The main thing is to get this upper side flush on there and flat. My clips might not be able to do that. If I get this in its spot, clip on there, clip's not doing it. So what I'm going to have to do is glue and hold. Because yeah, I can do it with my fingers. I can hold it like that. My clips will not. Maybe if I use one of these ones. I might be able to do something like this. It might just... Hey, that'll do it. That's holding it flush. And that is perfect. Alright, we're in business with this one. Where's my glue? Get the glue on that. And right in here. This is the quick type, but I'm only using the quick type just so that to hold it, well, quickly. That little tab there is the other spot where it really gets held, but it's along this line that is really important that it gets glued. I'm going to do a little bit along here too. So there we go. So that's got to dry. I'm going to try this side now. A similar problem with this one. So I'll grab my other one that's like this, and hopefully we get the same holding results. Yep, we're good. We're good. All right. A little bit there. A little bit there. And along here. And of course, up over the wheel well. And I just realized I didn't do this side. There we go. Okay guys, so again, this is where I'm going to leave it and let this dry. Alright, so once again, we've got to set this down and just leave it and let that glue dry for a long time so we don't get any movement. I just need to find a place to put it down where it's not going to get bumped or anything like that. So we'll do that. And so this is where I'm going to end it for today, guys. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for the patience in going through and adding those wires on the firewall. And thank you for all the new subscribers and the comments that I've seen. Thank you guys so much. You guys are really awesome. Wouldn't be doing this without you guys. So I really appreciate it. Speaking of appreciation, I really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Just down there, that would be really cool. Hit the like button too, and leave a comment if you feel like. Check out the links in the description box. You can check out my other channels and stuff like that. And we'll see you all in the next one.